everyone! I just got home from work and I'm so surprised that I can still film in natural lighting. It's so bright and sunny outside and that makes me smile. However, I'm here today to do a top 5 Wednesday video and I wanted to do this theme because I really like it. I'm going to talk about some books that made me think, and I was supposed to pick out 5 books, but I have actually picked out 6. I couldn't narrow it down. When I picked out these titles, I realized that there are in general 2 kinds of books that make me think. Books that take place in other countries besides from mine, and also books that deal with extreme situations. And I will explain more about that when I show you the titles. First book in no particular order is Room by Emma Donoghue. This book deals with a very young boy, Jack, who is 5 years old. He lives in a room with his mother and he doesn't know anything of the outside world. He doesn't know that other people exist. He has grown up like this since he was a little child, since he was born, and that's all I'm going to say. As you can hear, this is a very thought-provoking book because it deals with an extreme situation and it really made me reflect on life and how we learn things and also what it is like to live in this way. It must be a catastrophe, even though you don't know that it is a catastrophe. So this book definitely made me think, and it also became one of my favorite books of 2014. Next is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, and this book deals with adultery in Russia back in I think it's in the 19th century, and how adultery affected people back then, how it wasn't approved of. I know it's still not approved of, but how you had to make a choice, and through that choice you ruined your family. I love this book. I've already discussed it a lot on my channel, but it is one of my favorite classics exactly because it makes me think. I think it's so interesting to read about this problem back in the days because you lived in a totally different society from what we are used to today, and your decisions had some dramatic consequences. I really like this book and it definitely made me think. Next is Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This book takes place in Africa. I believe it's in Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, and that's what made me think. It also takes place during the civil war in Nigeria, and of course the main characters live under very tense circumstances, and that is what made me think. Whenever I read books that take place in other countries besides from mine, it makes me think because I realize that people live differently in other parts of the world. Of course, I knew that already, but I find it very interesting to read about it and actually learn about other cultures and other people. Especially this book made an impact on me because it is so brutal, it is so tense. I was very much affected by this story and therefore it is on my list. Then I have The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, which is also another personal favorite of mine. This is the story of Holden Caulfield, who thinks that people turn phony whenever they grow up. And basically that's the problematic of this story. Do we really become phony as we grow up? Do we lose some of our innocence? Those are some of the questions that are raised in this book. And how does that not make you think? And also it has an excellent story that I love to revisit now and then. The next title is Anything by Alice Munro. This is one of the compilation of short stories. I haven't read this one yet, but I have read another compilation and it made me think. I think the thing about Alice Munro's short stories is that they deal with life. And naturally you start thinking because you live life yourself, you know of these dilemmas that some of these people are in, and they make you think. Also because they make you compare your own life to these people's lives, and it all is very realistic, and that's what makes you think, I think. And final title I want to talk about today is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. This book takes place in Japan, so this is another one of those stories that made me think because it deals with a different kind of culture, a different kind of people, and a different way of thinking. The thing about this book that made me think the most is the fact that it takes place in Japan, because this is a completely different culture. So it wasn't really the story in itself that made an impact on me. It did, but not in a way that made me reflect for days afterwards. It was the fact that it takes place in another country, as I said, and it is such an interesting country. Japan is very interesting when it comes to way of thinking, way of living, even the way they eat and think about what they eat. I love reading about it and I love learning about it, so this definitely made it to my list. Those were all of the titles, so I hope I maybe inspired you to read some of these books. If I did, let me know in the comments. Also let me know if you have other titles that you would like me to check out because they made you think. I would definitely like to know. Thank you so much for watching and happy reading, everyone. Bye bye.